All right, today is my first look at the hot or not category. Hot will be any player that you definitely should start, not obviously someone that should be on your bench. I'm going to give you one player at each of the main positions in fantasy football this week for week one that you should start. Know that in week one you really don't have too much trending going on in the NFL, so you have to go on the basis of what you think the teams are going to do early in the season. Know that the NFL does intentionally schedule better teams against better teams in the first weeks of the season and worse teams against worse teams. It doesn't hold entirely. That's why you get the Patriots against the Bills in week one. But it's also why you usually get Denver and Baltimore and San Francisco and Green Bay in week one, and you get teams like Indianapolis and Oakland and the Rams going up against the Cardinals in week one. Hot quarterback for week one is Andrew Luck. If you have him on your team, look for him to have a big day against a porous Oakland defense. He's going to be able to throw the ball a lot. Oakland just doesn't have a whole lot of talent. They're better defensively than offensively, but they're still not a very good team. And look for Andrew Luck to be a solid starter in week one. In the not category, Tony Romo of the Cowboys is who I would bench this week if you can. The Giants still have a very good pass rush. The Cowboys' offensive line is still an absolute mess. Look for the Giants to be able to get to Romo consistently during the game. And Tony Romo, just to be someone, if you can avoid him, definitely keep him on your bench this week and go with another quarterback. At running back, I went with hot Jamel Charles of the Chiefs against Jacksonville. Charles should be a solid #1 running back. Lots of yards gained. He should break over 100. He'll catch 6 or 7 or 8 passes and maybe add another 60 or 70 yards receiving that way. Look for him to score a touchdown, maybe even 2. On the not category, I would say Eddie Lacy of the Packers against a terrific 49er run defense and an offensive line in the Packers that just doesn't open up many holes. This is not the week to play Eddie Lacy. There will be games and times where Lacy is going to be fabulous. This just doesn't seem to be one of those. I think the Packers will score enough of their points, but it's going to be through the air. And look for Lacy to be very average in week one. At wide receiver, I would really look for Julio Jones to be the hot guy. Julio Jones against a dreadful Saint defensive core is going to have a big day catching passes from Matt Ryan. It should be a very high scoring game because the Falcons don't have a great defensive backfield of their own to face Drew Brees. So look for Jones, though, to be the hot guy and really light up the scoreboard fantasy-wise. On the not category, look at Steve Smith of the Carolina Panthers going up against a really good defensive backs in Seattle and a really good Seattle defense. It just doesn't seem to bode well for the Panthers. Smith is not an elite receiver anymore. He's a very average receiver, a #2 for sure. And I don't expect him to do much against the cornerbacks for Seattle. Also don't expect Cam Newton to have a terrific day, although he might be okay running the football. At the tight end position, I would go with, as a hot receiver, Vernon Davis of the 49ers against the Packers. The Packers' defense is a little bit suspect in certain areas. Wide receivers kind of weak for San Francisco, so I would look for Vernon Davis to step in, have a big day at the tight end spot for San Francisco. Keep Jared Cook on your bench this week. Cook, the Rams tight end, going up against the Arizona Cardinals. The Cardinals, even without Washington, who's been suspended for the first 4 weeks, have a good defense. They just don't have much of an offensive line to help them out, and they don't have a great running attack either. But the Cardinals' defense is pretty solid. Don't look for Cook to get open all that much. I would expect Cook to be better in many other weeks. This might be a Chris Gibbons type of week if you're a Rams fan, but definitely try and stay away from Jared Cook at the tight end spot. And those are my picks for hot and not week one in the NFL.